Hi and welcome to this workshop about the anatomy of a good prompt. We're going to talk about AI and in specific how to generate images using AI. First of all, this segment workshop is going to be divided into two sections actually. One theoretical part and one practical part. And as you can see here, we have a text prompt laying in front of us or at the side. And this will be the baseline of the whole video, so to say. We're gonna dissect this in the next lecture or the next part, the practical part. But first, before we diving into that, I want to just break down my kind of path, how I have developed my ways of using AI. It started with something called ray tracing for me. That is kind of, I've been doing ray tracing for many years. And I found it interesting to describe things. That is kind of my way of seeing things. I want to describe it. I want to, read about things. And that comes from a lot of theory that I have been using, like math, for instance, is one discipline, the nature, walking around in the nature and finding inspiration, physics, what's possible, what's not possible, how can you bend the fork, for instance. No, but it's more like, materials and how different phenomena in the nature works, and also science. These are kind of my four elements, and they will be walking hand in hand in this video very, very much. So yeah, like I said, it's this workshop is called Anatomy of a Good Prompt. And that is a very good question itself. What is this? What is this? Well, I don't know. I really don't know still today, but we are going to break it down. So to be able to even generate an image, what do you need? Well, you need a bunch of package or tools actually. And these tools, they have a few things in common. It doesn't really matter because what we are dealing with are models. Yep, models. You have a text model and you have an image model or models. You can use multiple models or image, to get an image. And what the text model is doing, it takes care of the text you input. And it goes through a lot of kind of stages. You have something called an encoder. You need to encode the text, and you need to have something that tells it what shall it do with the text. Then you have like a tokenizing that will take pieces of the prompt, so to say, and feed it into the text model and get back results, because the text model is something that has a lot of words. See, it's like a dictionary, but also with a lot of words. It knows how to read and combine, the different subject, the nouns and adjective and so on. So it has a lot of guidance to go there. It's trained to do things in a certain way, and it's the same with the image models, but the image models works in a different way. You can see the image models like a photograph, like photo album, so to say. You have talented people, artists, whatever, that has been submitting a lot of photos to it, and so it's just growing and growing. But everything this has to do with decoder, this, you might say that, just a bunch of words, and absolutely that is really, really true. These are just words for now, but all the words here, the sampling steps, is how much details you can get into your image, how much it's kind of like the process. The words you're feeding into the token and encoder into the text model, and the steps are the things that determine how many times the steps should be repeated. Well, it refines the result, and the more steps you have, the finer it will be. And also something called guidance scale. We will come to these. I just name dropping by now. The guidance scale has to do with how should all the predictions and decoder things stay true to your text. The higher value you have here, the less imagination, so to say, AI might be saying, will the engine get to create an image. Okay, so if we are just removing these parameters, so to say, one of the first models that I was, or actually packages I was using, was called the VGUGAN clip. And like I said, what's common about every package is the models. So we're just gonna keep the models there. So I started to experiment with that one. Something that it kind of, when you're coding, for instance, you're always trying out this hello world thing. And that was exactly what I was doing, but I couldn't just say hello world to this VQGAN clip. I tried to feed in the prompt, red cat hat. Very simple, but that is kind of like the generic thing. And the result I was getting was not good. It wasn't good. And everything here, keep in mind, you had to feed it into via like a command prompt. So you didn't have like a fancy graphical user interface or anything like that. No. And I mean, the VQGAN clip uses models, and the models were trained from something called ImageNet. That is kind of like an open source model for images. To begin with, it was very low resolution. I think it was like 256 times 256, but it took an enormous amount of time on my computer because I didn't have like a fancy GPU. Anyhow, I started to realize that this is just ridiculous. I was kind of giving it random words, more or less. So it started to go more grammatical. A red hat in hat. Okay, yeah, it gave kind of the same result. It didn't really matter. I even went with a red cat in a hat. Yeah, the result was, yeah, I sure got a red cat, that's for sure, in a hat. Yep. Then I tried something else. The red cat in the hat. It gave me total different result. So I started to think like, there's something I'm doing wrong, and I didn't know how to feed the text model the proper way. So I just gave it like, it didn't have a structure. So I started to read a lot about how does this work, and I read a lot of theory. I think I spent like months before I even started again with this, because the results, I mean, one image from this would take like an hour to do, and I don't know how many steps I used by then, but I think it was way little. But also I just had the CPU, and yeah, back in the days, I mean, I started 2020, I didn't have, it was a good computer, but yeah, better was out there, but it doesn't matter. So I started to analyze that you need to have a structure, and that is depending on the subject. Okay, what do we want to see? The cat. Okay, the medium, the adjective. Yeah, red cat. Okay, so here we have a bit of a mixture that confused them, the VQGAN clip. You would think, but then that I was speaking about the tokenizing handler of text kind of figure out that, okay, it can't be a cat red. What? No, the cat has to be red. Okay, so the subject is the cat and the color is the red. Yeah. Then you had something else, the style. And the style was kind of, in this case, yeah, the style is red, I guess. And the resolution, the details, didn't have any details in there. So, yeah. And additional details didn't exist. Colors for like the mood, the atmosphere, didn't exist. Lightning, didn't exist. Artists or style didn't either exist. So it was kind of like, it just had like the medium, colors, and the subject. All right, I took this one step further when I started to kind of get a grip of what I was doing. And I developed my own little glass sphere. That's a typical me. That's typical me. And I got the glass sphere. And this was interesting. Very interesting. The subject is the sphere, and the medium is the glass, and the style is glass, so you can imagine how the glass is working. Yeah, it has reflections and refractions and all that thing that defines the glass material. And the resolution, well, it was very unpredicted, so I gave it a lot of Gaudian scale, because yeah, that was how it was. So I kind of fine-tuned the prompt a little bit more, like I did with the cat and the hat and the red. A sphere made of glass. Oh, I gave the Gaudian scale more kind of, you need to stay true to the prompt. This is it. This is what I want. I want a sphere made of glass. All right, and I got it. The results between the first and the second prompt was kind of, yeah, we are getting there, but it wasn't such a major difference. But then I introduced the more mathematical principles on this, because if we're going back one step, a sphere made of glass, then you have more like the nature, how it could be, the possibilities. Science is like, yeah, it could be in your imagination, in your imaginary world. It could absolutely be that. But now we have introduced more realistic factors from the math and the physics, of course. How exactly does reflection and refraction and index of refraction, how much does that invoke the material of a glass? Speaking about glass, yeah, here's a good example. We have liquid in the glass. How would this behave in a prompt world? That's a good question. And it also has to do with some features that you have to be specific about when you're feeding the model. You need to be very detailed and very specific. You have to be very specific if you want to have a specific result. Yeah, it makes sense, of course, but still, to get your image out from the text. Interesting. I was kind of still with the VQGAN clip, and I was getting crazy because it took so long time, but still I read a lot, and kind of my final prompt: photo of a sphere made of glass. The glass has reflection, refraction, index of refraction or reflection. The glass sphere sits on a plane or on the ground. I was kind of experimenting about sit, because sit, that is more like an animal. Hey dog, sit on the floor. While if you put like, I put the glass on the table, I don't sit the glass on the table, because if I would sit the glass on the table, it would probably just tilt it, so it will sit. It like, yeah. Anyhow. What happened next? I gave this a rest, a good rest, because I wanted to read more how things are working, and yeah, theory, like I said, and I'm a very theoretical guy, so I just wanted to know how to master this, because I'd seen some results that were kind of, yeah, okie doke, so to say. And later on in the more practical part, we will see some of the results. So what happened next? Next was something called augmented clipped guide diffusion. And the major difference between that and the clip and the VQGAN clip, I mean, it was that this time we introduced, or they introduced, diffusion models. And it's actually called the latent diffusion models. And that is, but I stayed in the augmented clipped guide diffusion for a while, but it was kind of, no, I mean, it gave fine results, but still it was not for me. But then something incredible happened. I came across something called disco diffusion. Now, wow, it was like the door of perceptions was opening for me. This was it. I found it like a tool that could really understand my workflow. It could really understand the way I was thinking, and yeah, it made this prompt turn into something very nice. Lots of colors, a lot of cool things appeared. It was like, wow, yeah, it was like you're having fantasy dream, so to say, or the artist inside of you can get more freedom. I don't know how to put it. It depends on which disciplines you are from. Mathematical, correct, not so much, but you have like creative. You're doing something creative and very artistic. And Disc Diffusion had that. And what really caught my attention was colors, atmosphere, and all the details. It was really nice. So I made a ton of prompts, and yeah, I think I spent like many years, actually 2 years, just working in Disco Diffusion. And then something else came out from Stability AI, something called Stable Diffusion. Version 1 was out and everybody was like, wow, that's the future, this is the future. Because it was faster and it used more optimized workflows. But I didn't use the first version too much. I stayed to Disco Diffusion because I was kind of having my peak there, so to say. It was like, oh, I was top on the mountains. Yeah. So I just wanted to do more and explore it more. Anyhow, then they released Stable Diffusion 1.5, 1.4 to be more specific. That was kind of a break point for me. It was like, okay, this made a huge difference for me. Not only could I stop using all the collaboration work notebooks that was online, and also at that time being given, I got myself a GPU, pretty good one. So I could do many things local, and when I was kind of on the road doing other works, I could use the notebooks online to explore the Stable Diffusion. And I think that, yeah, it was a game changer for me, like I said. But also something else came up, and that was Candid Sky. And Candid Sky, if we take it for what it is, we don't go political way here. That was also using latent models, latent diffusion models, and it opened up a totally new perspective for me. It gave the result more organic, nature, physics, and it wasn't so sharp. It was more like, this is me. It had smoother colors, and the blending between the noise predictors and refiners were more smooth, and I made a lot of images using Candid Sky along side by side with the Stable Diffusion. Then also we can say that the models that came out first was 1.5, but then something happened with the Stable Diffusion. They decided to release the Stable Diffusion 1 XL, and now the models wasn't just 512 times 512. Now they were twice the size, 1024 by 1024, and that made it changed. It was a game changer again. Even though I did not like the model, the XL model, I never liked them because they were so restricted. They changed a lot of ethics and made them more censored, so to say. So you didn't have the freedom as you had with the other models. So I didn't use the XL too much. But things changed. We got a new workflow, we got a new GUI, and also the Stable Diffusion got a Forge version. That was very interesting. It kind of made it possible to work faster, and you had more freedom. You could, inside the GUI, so to say, the web interface, you could really add a lot of new things to the model. For instance, we have something called the LoRa. And the LoRa, what is the LoRa? It sounds like some girlish name or whatever. Now it stands for low rank adaptation. And what it does, it's improving the models. Or actually, if you're having a car and you want to have more details on the wheels, for instance, then you can have like a LoRa that is adapted for the wheels. And you can kind of have it to, from the text you're inputting, the text, you can have like a little pointer to the LoRa telling, hey, you should use this much amount of the LoRa model in this to improve the quality of the wheels, for instance, or landscapes, or whatever you're using. Stable Diffusion Forge was really nice. You could go back and forth between different models, and yeah. But then something else happened. Stable Diffusion released something called the new version 3.0. That was the hit. I didn't use it too much because I didn't like. There were some restrictions in it from Stability AI that I didn't get along with, so I didn't use it too much. But at the same time also something else came out, and that was a Flux development version. It was kind of an offspring from the Stability AI, some guys there that formed a new way. Yeah, they built a new company, so to say, and the Flux was fantastic. But also in between, so to say, mind me saying, there was another one called the Auraflow. The Auraflow was very, I find it interesting. I didn't use it too much because the Flux kind of took over, but still it was very, very interesting model to use. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I will definitely revisit it. But still, Flux is what I'm using today, but also two other packages that I got myself into, and that was Stable Cascade and PixArt Sigma. I haven't explored them so much, but I still think they are really interesting. But we are gonna stick to Flux. That's kind of, there's always a time period, so to say, when you're kind of experimenting, when you have reached like, okay, I have control over what I'm doing. You have kind of developed your artistic style, mind me saying. And now, how is everything done? Well, it's done for me. I came across something called ComfUI, and that is a node-based system where you can kind of drag in a box, mind me saying, that has the models, and you have like noodles or nodes going from different boxes, so to say, with input and outputs. You have kind of like the refiner and everything. We are not going to go into how that is constructed because that will, like I said, take another hour, and we're still doing this very, the time is kind of crucial also. I can't make it too long. But this is kind of the way that I have walked, so to say. I have gone from a very, very basic cat hat thing to a more complex, really complex and delicate prompt here that we're going to take a look at in the practical moment that is now. Welcome to the more or less practical part of this video, where I'm going to go through the process and just show you hands-on experiments, how they came to reality, and we're going to look at the pictures. Okay, so this is kind of the baseline we have, that is the prompt that I've been working and doing some experience in the different packages, so to say. And we're going to start just picking this prompt apart. A beautiful macro depth of field photography of a detailed futuristic portal made of glow orb whirl vortex of cosmic particles, delicate wings of fire shimmer, non-natural light, bouquet retro-futuristic synthwave sci-fi on a window with refraction and index of reflection in a haze synthwave atmosphere. Ooh, that's a mouthful of word. And what on earth will this do? Well, the first experience, or experiment actually, was in the VQGAN clip that I was talking about. And the result was, like I said, a little bit, it wasn't the most, perhaps the best one. Let's take a look. This is what we got here. And maybe it's me that I don't fully understand how the VQGAN clip is working. But if we are looking here, what do we get from the prompt? A beautiful macro depth of field. Yes, sort of. It's some kind of a photograph. Yes, it's a photograph. Of course, it's a photograph. We can clearly, if we're kind of reverse engineering this a little bit, what we see accordingly from the prompt. Yeah, I can clearly see that these are probably the wings, they're the wings of fire. Yeah, it has some kind of fire, of course, to it. And they shimmer, yes, absolutely shimmer. And retro-futuristic synthwave, yes, it has part of that, actually. If we are looking here at the actual background, we can see it has those very fluorescent colors, neon, if you will, futuristic is always a little bit and especially when you mix it with synthwave and sci-fi. Perhaps 3 different mind me saying styles that should be mixed if you want to achieve some really kind of in the middle, in the between results. Yeah, it looks nice. Haze, synthwave, atmosphere. Funny enough, we have synthwave and synthwave. So it probably just will in a haze atmosphere. And yeah, we have the haze feeling to it. So we have a lot of blur here, haziness. But also if we are going to the vortex, it's kind of a wrapped, if you will, image here. But the vortex is probably not seen so much because it doesn't really understand how to use the vortex. Instead we get a more like the orb. Yeah, the glow. Here we go. The glowing, perhaps, orb. So this has to do with how you explain it. Now we have kind of, been giving, if we're going back here, we can see the subject that I was speaking about earlier, that the subjects actually are the orb, the wings, and here we have some weirdness, probably because I used synthwave a little bit too much, and details, futuristic, portal, so we have kind of a mixed, these are the subjects. And the material that I was talking about as well. The materials are probably, it has to do with the glow, and we have fire shimmering. So that's probably where we get like the fire effect and the shimmering effects from there. And the sci-fi retro futuristic synthwave atmosphere is probably the style, because VQ clip actually is more focused on the style, and in the style way we are talking about, like I said, the artists and stuff like that. And the resolution in the 4th discipline, or not discipline, but in the 4th kind of paragraph, it's a beautiful macro photo or a depth of field photograph and details. So it's focused a lot of on the details actually here. And beautiful macro, yeah, it's zoomed in, and then we have kind of the colors, like I said, and gonna quickly just rearrange a little bit here, and colors as well. And we have like the light and the art style. The art style kind of walk hand in hand with the style there. So we have pretty, how to say it, a pretty compact prompt. So it looks a little bit, yeah, like I said, how are you doing, my friend? It's very artistic, and the resolution, you might say, it's a little bit low, right? Yeah, but the model I was using, or actually I'm using multiple models, many models that is, and we could take a look. Yes, here we go. I know it's a little bit small, but yeah. So here we can see that I'm using the VQGAN ImageNet model, and also the clip model is V32. This maybe doesn't say too much, but yeah. And here we can also see the iterations. That is how many times should it go through and take as much detail from like the image model, and how many times should it parse it until we get like a good result. Well, I set it to 300 steps, and that is far enough. And here also you can see that it has cut off the prompt bouquet futuristic yeah, on the window reflection. So we don't even have these. You can clearly see that the prompt is the token actually that sets how many words or letters it should take from the given text prompt. It's not even completed, so to say. So that also kind of reflects why we don't get the window, and we don't get the refraction and index of reflection, and the haze. Somehow it looks hazy, but that has to do with many things. Like I said, it could have to do with that we're mixing a lot of different styles. And glow, yeah, glow and haze, all most scenarios, they are kind of, yeah, the same, but a little bit different. They walk hand in hand. So yeah, this was the result I was getting from the VQGAN clip package I was using. And now if we're closing this, we are gonna move on to augmented clip guide diffusion. We're gonna remove all this. Start fresh. I like to start fresh, so that we can compose. Augmented clipped guide diffusion version 2. What is that? That's a very good question indeed, but if we're looking at the result here, absolutely we can see some kind of improvements, right? We can straight ahead see that this time it kind of eats the prompt, mind me saying. It takes the information from the prompt in a more proper way. And if we are looking at how it's made, the settings, we can see that now it actually reads the entire prompt. So it has more focus on the entire picture, so to say. A beautiful macro depth of field photograph. Yes, it actually is that. That's for sure. And we can even see that it has some weirdness going on here. It's a lot of white and the negative space. And that could have to do with the vortex, kind of. It can get that if you're it can get that along with the haze effect, because you can see that it is more like heat wave. And we're going a little bit back and forth here, but there is a reason for that. And also here you can see that typical futuristic synth wave. Oh yeah, we are getting there. The sci-fi, it has a lot of sci-fi details, and the bokeh are going wild here. The bokeh effect, it looks nice. It looks really nice. And now I know this is a lens effect, and that is typical from the macro depth of field. And we also get some distorted reality, mind me saying, and that has to do with the index of reflection, along with the refraction. So it gives us this little glass sphere feeling to it, or if some kind of medium in the sphere that makes everything looking a little bit bent. It's almost skewed. I get this airplane feeling, when you're traveling and you're looking out through the window and you kind of, I'm coming home. Oh, look, that's my house over there. I'm getting that feeling when I'm looking at this. And it could have to do with a lot of things. But anyhow, how did the augmented clip guide diffusion version 2 work with the prompt? It gave us a finer result, much more finer result. And the steps iterations again are 200, kind of higher. I go about 500. But trust me, when I made this, it looked it took, a long time. This one took about 1 hour to generate, and I have a pretty beefy computer, so imagine the time. It's not an easy task in any means. What was next for me? Like I said, I was working inside Disco Diffusion, like I said, so we can close this one and we can open up the first generation of the prompt. Wow, that one looks cool, right? Now we can clearly see that. Goodbye, welcome. Disco Diffusion is now in the focus, and when we're looking at the Disco Diffusion's result, it looks amazing in my opinion. We have a lot of artistic feeling to this, but again, we don't have to go there. We know it's a macro photo, and the depth of field is very prominent here. We can see that it really has the focus on the orb and the vortex, absolutely, and the wings of fire. We have some kind of firing effect and wings, absolutely. We have the clear vision of wings, and here also we can see, I'm just parsing this, what I'm seeing. This is from the bokeh effect, retrofuturistic. Absolutely, we have some retro color, not perhaps retro in that way, but I think that what takes over here is actually the synthwave sci-fi and synthwave atmosphere. That's kind of what takes over the whole retro-futuristic. It's a bit futuristic, but retro, wouldn't say that. But that has to do, from my prompt crafting, that we have synthwave and synthwave, so it kind of pushes more weight to the synthwave atmosphere. In here we have more artistic style, the colors, the mood, absolutely, and that we get from both the fire, that we can see slightly fire off, but also the window with refraction. Yes, we can clearly see there is a window here. And we have a typical refraction. Here is the refraction, actually, what I like. This is typical when you're doing ray tracing stuff. And the resolution fine-tuning, not so much. And the subject or subjects are in focus, absolutely. Additional details, yes sir, we have them there. And the style, Absolutely. And medium, and the light, and the lightning. Absolutely. So we are good. We are really good. We have everything we can probably ask of you guys. Oops. Oh yeah. Here we can see that, whoa, yep, it's using a lot of parameters here. I'm not gonna go through them all. I'm just gonna kind of put the weight on what really makes the deepest impact, how to get the best of it, so to say. First of all, I have really gone nuts with the iteration 400. That is a monstrous amount. It plays a huge role when you want to fine-tune and let the sampling, the step, you know, like I said, refine. The clip guidance scale is set to a ridiculous high amount, and that is very nice because then it has more to work on and it can really fine-tune the range scale 150 and also how many cuts it's gonna do per batches, so to say. So we have a lot of resolution to work on here. And also if we are looking at the model or the models, so we have 4 secondary models to use. So we have a lot of extra models that we are using to get finer result here. So yeah, so these extra models are kind of like the LoRa's that I was mentioning earlier on. So they are here to improve, but it doesn't give it like, oh, I want to improve like, you know, the light here, I want to improve the wings. It doesn't really do that. It's more like a general thing. So yeah, this was a pretty intensive one. But we also have another one that we can, another picture that is, that we are going to take a look at now. And here we have the same. Everything is kind of more or less the same here, so we don't have to change anything. All right, so if we're looking here, now we can see that we have, this looks like, I don't know, caterpillar or something like that. But still, it has some segments from the wing. Here we can really see the wing. And we have these smooth colors from the synth wave. You know, sci-fi, absolutely. We have some weird futuristic things going on. We have the bouquet, and here we have some weird blueness. It's oversaturated, perhaps because, yeah, synthwave. Yeah, for sure. And here, when you have these corners, it looks like the depth of field has been more like in the macro. Now we are kind of more or less inside something. We are really close, and it shows that it has put most focus, mind me saying, on the actual refraction and I, or index of reflection here. So we have a really nice artistic image. And if we're looking here at the 4th generation, I will say, the 4th in the batch, absolutely, here we have the wings. Of course, and we can see we have some weird artifacts here, and this is the bouquet, and this is really nice, futuristic, absolutely. Retro, not so much. I think the retro is washed out by the synthwave and synthwave. Yeah, I'm repeating that, but that's a process. Else everything goes fine with all we have here. And to look at the final image, here, wow, holy Christmas tree. Here the synthwave and the and the futuristic sci-fi has really played a huge role here. And again, it's kind of what we asked for, a glow orb. Yep. And a whirl vortex of cosmic particles. I can see, I forgot to mention that in the other picture here, that one it was. Here also we have from the particles, of course. And here we can see we have some smaller bits and pieces. But this is more like feathers, yes, and here's the wings. So it kind of wings feather, that's, yeah, synopsis. Yeah, but still here we have a lot of details. We have more feeling of that macro depth in it, so it really puts the focus on the object, what we actually asked for. So Disco Diffusion, it does a very nice job, I would say. And now we have come to the other software package I was using that made a huge impact for me. Let's remove these. Now we're coming to Stable Diffusion. Stable diffusion is something completely different. If we are looking at the image, we can close this because that doesn't really matter now. My bad, my total bad. Yep, here we can see that this Stable diffusion took this to a really, really, really weird level. If we zoom in here a little bit, I think we can do that. Yes, we can. We can see that absolutely the orb is in the focus. That's the orb. And we have this really nice whirl vortex of cosmic particles. Absolutely, that's what we are seeing here. We have a lot of details, a lot, and the bouquet I can see plays a huge part here. And it's kind of like what we asked for. Actually, it's very, very much. And also we can see that we have macro in place, the depth of field here. So everything looks nice. We can absolutely see that there are some crisps here, and the retro kind of plays a little bit. It has a more impact, actually, the weight of the retro futuristic, because we get some kind of bleach out colors here and there. Here it's a really color clashes here, but still it goes into that synthwave style. Hence the colors here. We can really depend on that. So we are in a good position here. And if we are, yeah, okay. So if we're going backward or forward, it doesn't matter. Here we can see that we have achieved some other results. Not really sure what to make of this, but this is probably the bouquet and the particles. And here we get some really interesting whirls. I don't know, whirls really. I think it should be swirls, but it doesn't matter. Swirl. Vortex, yeah, cosmic particles. That's always a little bit. What is cosmic particles? Delicate wings. Yeah, we have some wings structures there, if you will. Glow orb. Yes, the orb. Anything but that, not so sure. Here again, we have another example. And this is kind of, it looks cool. You have the orb and the whirl. Yeah, it looks futuristic, absolutely. I have nothing more to say about that. And here we have the particles coming. It's more like they're embracing the whole thing. And here also, absolutely. This looks artistic, and this I don't know, but we can go to this. Here we also have, like I said, the glow and the orb. It's very, very oversaturated, but again, it has to do with that we put the weight on the synthwave atmosphere. That is kind of what stable diffusion can do, and we have a lot of things to cover, so I'm just gonna move on, so to say. Oh, wait a minute, this was actually version 1.5. So now we're gonna reach out to the Excel version and see what's the difference. So yeah, we are gonna start here. We can see that it looks fantastic, so to say. It looks really nice. We have a lot of details. We have some weird thing that it sits on. It's probably because it's a glow orb. So it has kind of, put the orb in on a plate or something like that. I don't know where this came from, but I guess guidance gave it too much freedom, so to say. And that is very likely. That is very, very likely. Let's see what we put the guidance scale to. It's actually put to 7. So, oh yeah, it's really strict to the point, but still it gets some freedom, actually. I didn't want to make it completely, strict to the prompt, even though 7 is a very high value. Okay, it's beautiful. Yes, it's a macro depth of field. Yes, it kind of parses the prompt really well, I have to say. It looks nice. The wings, not so sure, not sure where the wings, non-natural light. Yes, that's for sure. And we can see the bouquet effects. We can see the particles. So we are happy, really happy about this. Let's see the second generation. Oh yeah, here we go, my folk. Holy Christmas tree. Let's marry her at once. Here we have the orb, and we have some interesting things going on in the orb. What's that? That's, my friends, R. We have put that refraction and index of reflection on. So this is typical. But still, if we are looking at the prompt, what we really put all that, the refraction and the index of reflection on, that was actually on the sci-fi, synthwave and retrofuturistic stuff and the bouquet. So here is a little bit, we didn't get what we really perhaps wanted to refract, but because, I mean, to put refraction and reflection on some kind of, you know, background or atmosphere, I am not sure if that's possible in the real world. That's why they have this fantasy world where you can create things that normally don't appear in the real world. We're coming back to my little fine here. Disciplines. See, everything is connected actually. But it's alright. It's alright. We won't go too deep into that. And now let's move on. Here again, we can see that this is very, very synthwave, futuristic, and we have the retro touch to it. And here we can really see the orb, and it has some kind of whirl vortex. Yes, the vortex is nicely done, and it has particles, and yeah, it looks like a portal actually. And we have the portal. Yes, of course, we have the portal. And here also see that we have used the futuristic times, but it's okay. We're getting there. All right. Let's see. Here we go. This is interesting, really interesting. We have a lot of live in the cosmic here. The particles are going pretty cool here. And here, would you look at that? Would you look at that? This could either be something from the synthwave, or it could also reflect on the delicate wings of fire shimmering. Something is absolutely shimmering here. And if you really, really put your imagination, nature versus science perhaps, I don't know which discipline you would apply it to. Yeah, you can see some wings here, if you will, that is. Alright, let's go on. Here, I added some noise to the whole shebang, and I used a different method. This looks really weird, if I may say so myself. I kind of increased the noise level to 1000, and here we can see more examples. I just wanted to figure out how much the noise would make an impact. And also I'm using the standard stable diffusion model, so there's nothing fancy about that. And here again, there's some examples. 1000 was very much, and here we are down to 500. Does it keep to the prompt? Yes, absolutely. Here we have the orb, and we have like the whirl vortex, and everything looks fine. And here again, yeah, it looks okay actually. It looks, but you have a lot of grain, if you will, and the noise again. And here I just put it to 1, and here we can see it's lousy. It's really lousy and sloppy. This is perhaps, if we are going back to disco diffusion, if you put it on the steps. So yeah, keep to the original, I would say. And now, like I said, we had a little contender here that would make life easier for us, and that's a stable diffusion forge. It's actually like a fork of the stable diffusion, but they have kind of improved speed and added a lot of extra things. So let's have a look. Yeah, here we go. This looks fantastic. Cool. We have a lot of things here. These are the particles, the cosmic particles, and the wings. I'm not entirely sure what happens to the wings. They have flew away. But we can also see here now that we have a lot of refraction and index of reflection, what we asked for. And the portal is here. We can clearly see that this has the vortex, like I said, and it's swirling in, mind me saying. And it has this fire-ish look to it. It has a little bit of retro feeling because the colors are a little bit washed out, and you have a lot of depth of field here. So you get that little, cinematic mood to this. And if we are moving on, whoa, here we go. We have totally, this is crazy. The wings are in focus here. Yep, we have a lot of wings. We have cosmic particles. Oh yeah, holy shaboly, here we go. And we have some really nice portals, and the details are extreme. This is a really cool one. If we're zooming up a little bit, we can really see that it has this typical shininess that we get from both the reflection and the refraction, and it makes the orb, the sphere, looking like something made of glass. So absolutely. And here we have some reflections on the floor, refractions too. Like I said, it really puts the weight on the atmosphere. So that's cool. That's really cool. Let's move on. Let's see. What did it do more than this? Oh yeah, I have to. What the heck? Okay, here we go. Not sure what happened here. I think it just put like the whole focus on the cosmic particles. Everything else has kind of gone bananas. So we are in cosmic. Yeah, absolutely. But not really what we wanted. And perhaps if we are looking at the prompt, maybe it kind of, the vortex is an object, of course, and the orb is also an object, cosmic particle. So maybe the vortex wasn't really, what should I do with the world vortex? I don't know. Like I said, I gave it a lot of freedom. So yeah, you get what you see is what you get. What you prompt is what you get in this case. And here again, just totally bananas. Not sure what's going on here, but I saved them for this example actually. Yeah. Okay, I forgot something. You have different samples in stable diffusion. So why we're getting this is because I set the sampler to Euler. So this is what we got when I put it to Euler, and here is when we put the sampler to dpm to MSDE. All right, now I was also diving into the Kandinsky. So this prompt, what would that look in Kandinsky? Let's have a look, shall we? This is really interesting because when we're looking here, we can see that we are getting a lot of cool details. We get the particles. We have the retro futuristic synthwave look, of course. And also here, we have a sphere, orb, we have world, we have vortex, we have everything we can ask about. And it's beautiful. Of course, I have made it. It's beautiful. And macro, yep, you bet your uncle's iced tea. It's macro. Didn't need to put on the glasses there. And we have the depth of field as well. A little bit, lean down. It's lower camera angle. You can see the floor here. And you can see this door into perception or whatever. Just had to. So this is beautiful. Totally what I would expect here. And we have this synthwave atmosphere. Let's go on. Oh yeah. Kiss that door. Okay. Look here, we have the window. Nice. And you have non-natural light. Yep. We have some particles. Also, you have the bokeh effect, of course. You have it resting here on the floor, and it's made of glass. You get full use of the refraction and the reflection, and it's very hazed. Here you can see how the haziness affects the colors, the light. You get this little, almost like this warm heat effect when you're filming something on an old school camera, And here again, oh yeah, we are on it. The door is open. Oh man, the door is open. I like this. As you can hear, my voice is getting excited because, like I said, Kandinsky is very underestimated, and I used it a lot, and I have made thousands of images in this. Trust me, it's so many that I have lost count. But it's cool, it's fine, it's awesome, and it's not too tricky to use. And here again, oh yeah, we can see we have now the window. It's very Windows focused for some odd reason. Let's analyze. Why do we get so much of that? We don't get so much of the... we can see the wings here actually, if you really put yourself into the imagination, you can really see, you can see the wings. But here we have like the light coming out from the window, and I think the window is there because we had the futuristic. So the futuristic and sci-fi. it's kind of like a twilight zone between the real world and the cosmic world, because we can see that the particles are much more intense here. So just my imagination. Yeah. And here again, oh yeah, we can really see that the particles are going crazy. Here we have the wings. The wings are probably getting a lot of refraction in this orb. And it's glowing, and it has the fire colors. Here we can see the fire, orange, red-ish. And here it's kind of, it meets up with the more synthwave, sci-fi, cosmic thing. Yeah. Really nice. And again here, not too much to say. The window. And we can also see something that there is a bit of a, you can see what's in focus and what's not in focus. And this has to do with how I have set the clippings for this. And also one other thing, this one is getting different random seeds. So it's random. And here again, we can see that the sphere is kind of in the focus, and that's, yeah, here we go, detailed, and the macro depth of field is pointing at our sweet orb, so that one will always be in focus. And here we can see that the door to perception has more influence on the picture, and you can also see nice reflection there. Hence we had the refraction and the index of reflection. Wow. So that's Candid Sky. But as I said, as I was working with the Candid Sky and the Stable Diffusion, another contender came out, and that was Stable Diffusion 3. But I didn't use it too much because, yeah, there were some controversy around that, and I just didn't want to use it because, yeah, political things. But that's for another session, I guess. But here we can also see, if we stick into the prompt again, I don't know how many times we have read this prompt, but it's what it is. It is what it is. Anyhow, let's go. Here we really can see that the whirl vortex is going inward, and you have several of several of whirls going on here, and the cosmic particles, they are in the actual orb, and that's absolutely correct. Vortex of cosmic particles. Yeah. Delicate wings of fire shimmering. The wings, I'm not entirely sure what happens to the wings. Maybe these are the wings, I don't know. But else we have this ground that has a lot of particles and bouquet on. And here we have a really nice nature thing. It looks like some kind of alien moss. And yes, I'm just using this prompt. Nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. So let's go. Speaking about wings, here the wings flew away totally. The wings are attached to this orb, and the orb has a lot of cosmic particles on. The wings are absolutely made of fire. Shimmering, yeah, they shimmer, oh yeah, they shimmering like the nose of a dolphin, actually, yeah, no problems. We have some futuristic. Absolutely, this is more like sci-fi. You're in space, and here you have like, where does this go? The opening to the unknown. And you have some retro colors, absolutely. But also here you have the typical synthwave atmosphere, and it really affects the bouquet here. So this is absolutely what we were asking for. That's for sure. I can't say anything less. Same here, it's a portal. Yeah, it's a portal, and it has a lot of interesting artifacts or features. The bouquet, the particles. Here we have that sci-fi, retro sci-fi. Yep, for sure. That no problems there. And like I said, it's a vortex. The vortex is going inward or outward. It depends on. And here you can really see that whirl. That it has that little tail thing going in. So yeah, it's just what we asked for. And non-natural light it is. Yep. And here again, whoa, here we go. The particle has gone crazy here. The particles are really spinning in that vortex. Cosmic particles. Delicate wings of fire, shimmer, absolutely. Non-natural light. Yeah, and here we also have the bouquet, the particles, so everything, and fire. Yeah, but the wings, I don't know. Maybe they ripped the wings off that poor little bird, I don't know. But it doesn't matter, because that's what you get when you're working with AI and using the generative image things. This is kind of like the guidance, like I mentioned it, the guidance scale. Here we go, my friends. Sneak in there. And how it kind of does its predictions from the different models. Yeah. And here again, I'm using the standard Stable Diffusion 3.5 large model. So the model itself is very huge. So okie doke, what happened next? Well, in the middle of all this, the aura flow came out, which is I don't really know where it came from. I haven't really read the papers too much. I just thought it was cool to experiment with. So let's go. The results, I think these results are very specific. They give a nice different look, a very different look. It has a lot of smoothness going on, kind of if you're in that mood, you know, that state of mind, if you're zooming in actually, you can see that it has a bit of the wings going on there, wings of fire shimmering, but it's more focused on the vortex and the whirl and the cosmic particles. We don't get so much of that retro futuristic synth wave here. That's not even. Yeah, you can see shimmers, mind me saying. You can see shimmers of it, but still it's not so visible that we perhaps wanted. So let's go here again. It has more focus on the orb, the kind of whirl thing. Yeah, vortex. Still it looks nice. Here we have a more clearance in the synthwave region, so to say. We have a lot of these colors, yeah. Here we go. The synthwave, the particle, the cosmic particles play a huge role in here. So we can really see that they are kind of cool. And also here we have the reflection and refraction. Here it's not so visible, but here we can really see that it reflects and refracts something. But it's not accurate, that's for sure. It doesn't give you this. If you would have done this in a ray tracer, it wouldn't have looked anything like this. But it's okay. It's alright. Let's take a look here. Again, interesting results, but the wings are not visible. I don't see anything about the wings. But here we can see that the refraction part is getting more bent, so to say. So we have a pretty high refraction value. If we go into the math discipline here, and physics, how everything should bend in glass and water. So I think that, but we're not gonna go that road. We're not gonna go that road because that's a different potato to boil, so to say. So we have a few more to go with. Something that is called flux, and the flux was kind of or is one of my favorite models, and I use it a lot today. And yeah, I'm gonna make a special video about flux in the future, where I'm gonna go through my workflows and how I have built them up. And anyhow, let's stay to the topic here. Here we can see that, yeah, it's a window. We can see the window frame here. We can see like, yeah, where you put your flowers or whatever you put there. It's full of particles and mysterious things. And here we can see that we have some particles, cosmic particles, and here we have more like a vortex, but it's flat on the window. And on a window, bouquets are also on the window. So here it actually put all this, well, this is kind of the definition, but it put the detailed futuristic portal, glow, whirl, vortex, cosmic particles, delicate wings of fire, shimmer, non-natural light. It put all this on the window. Interesting. And if we're looking at the other, yeah, here we can see the orb has, this is probably the orb, but it looks really flattened out. It's more like weird thing, but to be real, if you put like glass, melting glass on a window, this is more or less what you get. And it looks experimental, and perhaps it is, and I have a little bit of a bonus that we're gonna work our way through. Anyhow, like I said, we also had another contender that out of the blue came out, and that was Stable Cascade. And we can see that it looks very similar to the Stable Diffusion 3, I would say, but it's more jagged here. But still, it has to do with the wings there, so it gets a little bit more frosty, so to say. But else we have everything there. It's a synthwave, perhaps not, but the fire effect, the glow has kind of taken over. Window, perhaps this is the window, I don't know. But here we have some flares of the synthwave, and here we have the bouquet, of course, really nice bouquet effects. And if we're moving on to the other window, the other image. Yep, absolutely. We have a sphere or an orb, mind me saying. And we have the vortex. We have the cosmic particles shooting out, but it still sucks in here. Nice. We have some retro color grading. We have the synthwave atmosphere, but it's more prominent on the fire part or glow, which is natural. Okay. And here, yes sir, I can... Here we also have the sphere or orb is really nested into some kind of weird vortex thing, wrapping itself in, and here we have a huge thing, and these are the wings, my friend. These are the wings. They don't, they have a little bit burst of fire here, but they are more or less walking to the more shimmering part. And we have the bouquet, we have the particles, we have glow. Yeah, it looks nice. Nice. We have the glow orb, yep. Portal, absolutely. Cosmic particles are here. Delicate wings, here are they. These are the wings, and they are absolutely in fire and shimmering. They shimmer, and everything reflects into this window, I suppose. And here you have more of that sci-fi feeling than you have here. Here is more like a space cosmic particle. I mean cosmic. Yep. And you also have the index of reflection here. And it's hazed. You can really see how hazed it is. It's really... I want to have this heat waves effect. If I would animate this 100%, boys and girls, I would absolutely make a heat wave effect here. Just because I can. So we have one last contender, and that was, or is actually, the PixArt Sigma. I didn't use it too much, and I used the Sigma XL Model 2, that is 1040 by 1040. I should do more in Sigma perhaps, but still, this is really, really cool. You have totally more focus on the wings here. You can really see these are wings. You can, if we zoom in here, you can actually see that these wings are cool. It's a little bit grainy, not sure, because I haven't used any kind of, denoise thing or fine tuning it or detail or add detail or anything. I have just, done it by done, so to say. But here, anyhow, here we can see that we have some kind of woo going on here. It's probably the cosmic particles. Yeah, and here we have the bouquet effect, and everything looks, it's burning. It's of fire, shimmering. Yeah, right, it's shimmering. And here again, we have that very, very, very futuristic synthwave-ish thing with the colors purple, blue. I like this. This looks really creepy, and you even have some kind of frame. I guess this is the window frame here. Wow, it looks like something. It has crashed into the window or crashed into something. And you have a lot of haze here as well. To wrap up this long, super long kind of going through, what have we learned from this? Well, first of all, if we are just clearing the workspace, I like to keep these because these are important. I was talking about an interface, or actually a node system called ComfyUI, and inside I have actually used the workflow of Pix, Art Sigma, Stable Cascade, the Flux, the Auraflow, and the other programs that I was talking about. They are individual programs that are, these are kind of in a window, like I said. Well, you can do workflows for the other, but this is kind of inside ComfyUI. But the other models, or actually the other programs, VQGAN Clip is just text-based. At the time when I was using it, it was only text-based. Absolutely a nightmare to work with. Same with the augmented clip guide diffusion. Disco diffusion was to begin with also a prompt, but later on they made a nice notebook. A stable diffusion to begin with, that was also like a prompt based, but then they developed automatic 1111, which I think is a nice web UI for it. And same with Candid Sky, it was also a prompt based parser image generator to begin with. Then they built Grados, I think, whatever it's called, a nice, really nice interface. And then you have like Stable Diffusion Forge also inside of automatic 1111, so to say, workflow. Same with Stable Diffusion 1XL and 1.5 using web UIs. I hope this has been useful, or at least in some perspective interesting for you to hear me talk about my process, how everything began from, working with Weird. It went from VQGAN Clip into ComfyUI. Models. Which models to use? We were talking about image models. We were talking about text models and the LoRa's that can improve particular things in your image. And we were also talking a little bit about guidance scale that kind of predicts how much true should I stay from to the text input and let the handling text from the text clip model do. How much should I predict from everything? How should I encode it? How many times should I do this with the sample steps? And how much noise from the image model should I add? And how should I refine everything, fine-tune, add detailer, upscaler to get an image out? And I said I had a bonus, and I will probably show it to you because this prompt is kind of cool. I don't have any problems with that prompt, but that's the original prompt, I mean. But then I fine-tuned it a little bit more. This prompt is tweaked for Stable Diffusion 1.5 here. So we have changed it a little bit. And here we have also fine-tuned it and following, the structure, the actual structure. And we also have it fine-tuned another time. We really have rewritten it, so to say, and we have put all the effects later here, and now we have finally fine-tuned it for anyhow. With this said and done, I hope this has been useful for you and give you an insight of my process in the anatomy of a good prompt using all kind of tools. And these AI tools, I have used them since 2020, so it's been like a long in the making to reach the point where we are at now. But it's 2025, so it's like always, smash that like button, leave comments, don't forget to subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in another one. Bye for now.